Writer. It was one of the few occupations and ways of survival that could give the Avatar ability. Some of his strange miracles could be explained if he was a writer. The lips of the first apostle subtly twist. Writer? Do you mean the creator of the Book of Revelations? You have found out. That's right. I wrote the Book of Revelations. I didn't mean this, but this bastard was suddenly talking nonsense. For me, it was a truth that wasn't possible. I looked towards Yoo Junghyuk. Exclusive skill, Omniscience Reader's Viewpoint has been activated. The character, Yoo Junghyuk, is currently using lie detection level 6. I knew it. He was a meticulous jerk. I asked once again, you wrote the Book of Revelations? Yes, at the same time, I'm also the sole owner of the Book of Revelations. A confident laugh emerged. Really? Let's challenge it once. The character Yoo Junghyuk has used lie detection level 6. The character Yoo Junghyuk has confirmed that the statement is true. What? This guy was telling the truth? I suddenly panicked and my circuits got tangled up. It wasn't possible, no matter how I thought about it. I hid my confusion and asked again, what exactly is the revelation you are talking about? Why are you asking when you already know? A great epic about the future. The character Yoo Junghyuk has confirmed the statement is true. Strange. There was some truth about it? Now it's your turn. How did you know about me and the apostles? Are you also an apostle? You wrote the Book of Revelations yourself. Then shouldn't you know? Is it fun to be an omniscient creator? He giggled like a leisurely villain while I regained my composure. No matter how I looked, he wasn't the author of Ways of Survival. If he really was the writer of Ways of Survival, there was no way he wouldn't know that he gave me a text version. By the way, it's interesting. I thought the woman in Sodaemun prison would be the last apostle, but a man like you was hiding. Sodaemun prison? You don't know yet? Let's trade. Reveal your true identity, then I'll give you some information. Let's see. I don't think you have the information that I want. I might have been overpowered, but this isn't my real body. You were just a bit lucky. I know information about the future. I deliberately interrupted him. Now is the time to sprinkle a little bit of spice for Yoo Junghyuk. In addition, I know more than you. The character Yoo Junghyuk has confirmed that your words are true. The expression of the first apostle stiffened. You're barking nonsense! I know more than you! At this moment, something flashed in his eyes. Wait a minute, perhaps... The moment he realized something, I also noticed something. This guy. Was it him? Right now, there were 5 truths that I knew. 1. He read Ways of Survival. 2. His occupation was a writer. 3. He wasn't the writer who wrote Ways of Survival. 4. He wrote a text that told the future. 5. His knowledge was only somewhat accurate. I read through 3,149 chapters of Ways of Survival. As far as I knew, Ways of Survival wasn't popular, and there was no illegal text versions. But if he was the guy I thought, it would be understandable this guy had a text version and knew a lot about Ways of Survival. I opened my mouth. Do you like to live while copying others? What? His eyes were shaken. There was no doubt. The first apostle was him. I didn't think you would live like this. The revelation. Do you want to live like this? My teeth starts grinding together when I think about your claims of being the creator of the Book of Revelations. What? Somewhat strange. The information that you used is meager. The guy paled. Isn't it time to stop acting like this? Are you still doing it despite the world becoming like this? Yoo Junghyuk! The guy hurriedly looked at Yoo Junghyuk. Yoo Junghyuk, work with me! He was silly. As I said before, I know all the revelations. Only I can take you to the end of this road in this world. Exclusive skill, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Stage 2 has been activated. Due to high fatigue, you are unable to activate Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Stage 2. Damn, right now? Think carefully. You can't break through the 46 scenario alone. You have to hold hands with me to defeat Anna Croft and the Chalatustra. This jerk was speaking the same words I did. Yoo Junghyuk shook his head. I've never heard of the revelations. It's like a prophecy. Can't you see my attribute? It even says that I'm the last. The character Yoo Junghyuk has used Sage's Eyes level 8. I also activated the skill. The information of this person can't be read in character list. This person is registered in character list. Damn, I couldn't see. Yoo Junghyuk verified something with Sage's Eyes and looked at me. The severed head continued to speak. Kill him. You know that he's dangerous. He pretended to be you and will seriously damage you in the future. If you leave him alone, he will cause a serious butterfly effect and ruin all your plans. I was outraged. Did this jerk want to die together with me? Isn't it the same for you? I'm different. Yoo Junghyuk, hold hands with me. I will give you a vow or whatever you want. I will never betray you. He came out strongly. Yoo Junghyuk watched the situation and opened his mouth. I see. Joining hands. Life started to creep into Yoo Junghyuk's eyes and looked at me. I couldn't see inside his mind, so I was going crazy. Yoo Junghyuk slowly moved his sword towards me. The first apostle's momentum rose as he shouted, Go ahead and kill him! Kill him! One is a prophet, the other's a revelator. Kill him! Yoo Junghyuk trampled on the head of the first apostle. What? If you really know the future, then let me ask you one thing. What? The blade moved to my neck. The one sword that I experienced through Yoo Junghyuk was now headed towards me. I felt the sting and something warm flowed down my neck. Hey, what are you doing? The surprised Jung Hyun ran towards his side. I raised my hand to restrain the party. I was nervous, but it wasn't good to stimulate Yoo Junghyuk here. Yoo Junghyuk asked the first apostle. I will ask you, will I kill this guy or not? What? If you really received a revelation of the future, you'll know my choice. This bastard had a bad habit. He was doing this again? The face of the first apostle looked agonized. Maybe I was the same on the even bridge. Surprisingly, the answer came very quickly. Of course you'll kill him. You must do it. His face full of strong convictions. His face was arrogantly assured that Yoo Junghyuk would act like this. Come on, kill him and... The sword moved, but what followed wasn't the sound of flesh being cut. The head of the first apostle burst as it was stepped on. The person wouldn't die because it was an avatar, but he would suffer considerable psychological damage. Yoo Junghyuk's sword was soon removed. He was a mouthy bastard. I felt a bit stunned. Yoo Junghyuk chose to spare me? I felt a bit shaken. I wasn't sure. Yoo Junghyuk stared at me for a moment before walking away. Hey, where are you going? This jerk. He must think he's so cool. Honestly, he was a bit cool. Just wait, are you gonna leave with Li Jie? Since the future has changed, the plan has also changed. Why don't you act together with me? I can help you. Yoo Junghyuk turned towards me. I reflexively shrank back at his eyes. The debt is paid off. My last favor is not taking away your flag. This bastard. But I couldn't retreat like this. In any case, you can't leave the station unless I remove you from the group. Do you want to receive the punishment? Yoo Junghyuk slowly moved his hands toward the hilt of his sword. I quickly added, I know what your plan is. Aren't you going to go into Jeongju? It is your goal to complete the Black Flag by walking the King's Road. I will help you. I would rather take your flag right now. Then try it. Is your sword faster, or my tongue? It was a gamble. Yoo Junghyuk could stab my neck before the effect of the punishment appeared. You don't need to go towards Jeongju. Go to the north. The territory of the Tyrant King will be yours, and will help you make your grand flag. Getting a flag and removing the enemy. Isn't it killing two birds with one stone? I can do it myself. There are 48 hours till the end of the fourth scenario. Can you occupy 20 stations and complete the Black Flag in that time? Yoo Junghyuk's hands hesitated. He was caught. Besides, don't you have a reason for going north? Surely you aren't going to throw away your family member at this time. You. Remain calm. I'm speaking in good faith. It would really help. Yoo Junghyuk's angry eyes stared at me for a moment. The atmosphere was strained. The killing intent soon disappeared. There's no such thing as anything free in this world. What are your conditions? As expected, the regressor was quick to notice. I said with a smile. It's simple. Let me just know one thing. My condition is that simple. What is it? That guy you just stepped on. What is his attribute? One should be the last to get off. What's the other one? After a while, Yoo Junghyuk opened his mouth. 10 minutes afterwards, I called Jung Min-sub and Lee Sung-kook. It was a separate matter for the two of them. Before I could open my mouth, Jung Min-sub asked me first. In the end, what was that guy? I hesitated a moment before asking. Do you know the novel SSSS Grade Infinite Regressor? I read it. Lee Sung-kook raised his hand. Wasn't it the #1 platinum novel on Textpia? It was really fun. Oh, that's right. I had forgotten, but now it rings a bell. But how did it finish? The two of them started speaking loudly as memories popped up. As expected, these guys must be interested in web novels if they read Ways of Survival. There were all kinds of elements, but it was still fun. In fact, I read that novel. I was reading Ways of Survival and accidentally clicked on it since it was in the Today's Best list. And I was surprised to see the development and setting of the novel. An infinite regressor psychopath. Sponsorship from transcendent beings. Streaming system. A survival game with absurd missions. In fact, these were common settings. The problem was the detail of the common settings, and the way it was combined. I left a comment as soon as I read it. Isn't this plagiarizing Ways of Survival? I remembered. Rather than a plagiarism controversy, I was criticized for comparing it to a bad novel. I received terrible messages from the readers of SSS Grade Infinite Regressor. Isn't your business over there? Stop causing inconveniences. I was furious and sent a note to the writer of Ways of Survival. Then the author said something. He was in a better mood because the number of views had increased. I teared up because I thought the author was pitiful. Lee Sung-kook added, But why are you talking about this novel? The first apostle is the author of SSS Grade Infinite Regressor. It can't be. The author would know Ways of Survival. Now that the world turned into the novel, a writer who plagiarized the novel could claim copyrights of this world. In addition, he added the absurd setting of the revelation. After some explanations, Jungmin-soo understood and made an absurd expression. It was a plagiarized novel? Yes. Come to think of it, the novel was similar. I can't remember well because it's old. Why didn't that novel pop up first in my mind? It was much more famous. Is it due to the attribute? Only the portion we read popped up. The SS part is also confusing because there are too many novels with them. Is that so? In any case, the first apostle's a plagiarist? Then he'll have a text version. I nodded and said, maybe as a copy of his own plagiarized work. He copied the plot of the original so you can see the future of this world to a certain extent. It was painful when thinking that a plagiarist was successful, even in this changed world. It was time to implement justice. And isn't it possible to win against him? If he copied the original to the end. It isn't to the end. He only copied the early parts. He would stop early on to prevent plagiarism controversy later on. After a bit more time, the information he knows will decrease. How do you know this? I just know. It was natural. In the chapters in the hundreds, I was the only reader where it was survival. Excuse me, how far did Representative Nim read in the original work? Before that, there's something you have to do. To be exact, it's something we have to do together. The shoulders stiffened. Did you tell me before? The prophets were hit by the Tyrant King? Maybe there are still a few people being used by him. Really? Then it's better. Yes? The remaining time until the scenario ended was 48 hours. It was hard to do it alone if I wanted to hunt the Tyrant King. I'll distribute the information to these guys. If the Tyrant King was using the prophets, I could take advantage of it. Reveal parts of the revelations? Huh? How? They still didn't understand what I was talking about, so I kindly explained. From now on, we'll make a text of SSS grade infinite regressor and spread it. If there were several enemies, the answer was to make them fight each other.